We captained Saka over Kane in blank game week 28 and it paid off. Let's see if we can nail it again in the biggest double game week of the season. First up on the shortlist is Rashford against Newcastle away, then Brentford at home. Ten Hag stated in the press conference that he did train, but he had to do some treatment. He's done individual training and he's joined the rest of the team today, so he's got good hope. So based on the information that we've got to keep an open mind. This isn't 100% confirmation that he's fit and ready to play, but it's nearly that. According to Premier Injuries, he's got a 75% chance of starting the first fixture. His three contenders are the Brighton midfield trio of McAllister, Mitoma and March. They're up against Brentford at home and Bournemouth away. McAllister played for Argentina midweek and Mitoma played for Japan, but De Zerbi did mention in the press conference that he's not got any concerns over the fitness of these two players. He doesn't think there's any fatigue. If we take a look at the non-penalty stats per 90 minutes for this season, we can see they're completely skewed. This mainly applies to McAllister because he used to play a much deeper role. He's now playing in attacking mid. In fact, that's only in the last 5 matches, so let's take a look at those stats. As you can see on the screen, McAllister's underlying stats have been much more promising in his new role, but we've got to bear in mind that these are based on a small sample size of 5 games. Obviously Rashford's kept up good stats all season, but these are also worth considering because they're more relevant to McAllister. I know Mitoma's at the bottom of the list for this one, but he's been decent this season. He's completely overperformed his underlying stats. He's been clinical in front of goal. March has also been decent this season. As you can see on the screen, he's been providing a lot of attacking threat recently. Moving on to the set pieces, McAllister's a dedicated penalty taker for Brighton. I know Estupiñán took one in the internationals, but I don't think he is on penalty duties for Brighton, not until we hear or see anything anyway. This of course means that Mitoma and March aren't on penalty duties. There is a chance that Rashford could be on pens for United, but I do think it will be Bruno, none of that set in stone. Rashford and McAllister are the main direct free kick takers at their respective clubs. March is the secondary direct free kick taker, but he also takes in direct free kicks and corners as well. As for Mitoma, he doesn't benefit from any set pieces at all. Now let's take a look at the probability of each player scoring or assisting. These odds are based on the assumption that each player plays 180 minutes because it's a double game week. We'll take a look at the expected minutes later on in the video. It's neck and neck between Rashford and McAllister. Rashford's anytime goal scorer odds are 1% higher. That's whilst McAllister's anytime assister odds are 2% higher. If they both play the full matches, McAllister's got the highest chance of success, but only by 1%. Moving on to the points projections, Rashford's got the highest overall on Fantasy Football Scout with 9.6, but he's also got the lowest on Fantasy Football Fix with 6.2. I think the reason for this is because Fantasy Football Scout are assuming he's 100% fit, and Fantasy Football Fix are assuming that he's 75% fit. The highest on Fantasy Football Fix is March with 9.3, but he's also got the lowest on Fantasy Football Scouts with 7.5. Mitoma's got the most promising points projections overall. He comes second on both websites. Going off the averages, the lowest is Rashford with 8.1, just ahead of him is McAllister on 8.15, then in second place March on 8.4, Mitoma's got 8.85. By comparing the opposition's defence, we can see that Brighton have got much easier fixtures than Rashford. I've only used one of the opponents because both United and Brighton face Brentford at home in the double game week. Bournemouth have conceded almost 3 times as many goals per game than Newcastle have. Obviously the expected numbers are better at projecting the future goals conceded than the actual goals conceded themselves. Even still, they've almost been expected to concede twice as many goals per game. Before I draw up a conclusion, I'm going to carry out a quick risk assessment. Rashford and March have had 2 weeks worth of recovery because they didn't feature in the internationals. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, McAllister did play for Argentina 3 days before this fixture, and Mitoma played for Japan 4 days before. As you know for Rashford, the press conference that I mentioned at the start of the video is promising, but it's not 100%, that's why he's got the lowest expected minutes, but they're not too bad though. Mitoma's got the second lowest. I wouldn't be concerned over the fitness of any of the 3 Brighton players based on Brighton's press conference either. We can assume that March is the most nil player on the shortlist this game week with the highest expected minutes. McAllister's expected minutes aren't too bad either, they're pretty decent. Now it's time to make a decision. If you've skipped forward to this point in the video, make sure you go back and take a look at the data analysis because it's really close between the 4 players and you might conclude with a different player to me. There's not much to split any of these players. I'd happily captain any of them, but I'm not going to sit on the fence. I'm slightly leaning towards McAllister. I'm thinking of taking a -12 this game week. I'm definitely selling Sanchez. Probably going to sell Gabriel, Saka and Kane. Check out my team selection video if you haven't already. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of these videos.